This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Right, so Frank Warren has bit back at Eddie Hearn. Link to that in the description box. So just let me give everybody a quick overview for those of you who may be not quite in the loop or up to date with everything. So a couple of days ago, Eddie Hearn, he'd done his interview with IFL and DAZN and whoever else, and pretty much criticised Tyson Fury's team for firstly not contributing to try and help get the Fury-Joshua fight over the line. And nobody was out there trying to get site deals or anything like that. There was always constant negativity throughout the whole negotiations, always saying how Eddie Hearn can't do it and whatever else. Basically, Eddie Hearn is accusing Team Fury of basically doing very little and didn't really want the fight. And I suppose one of the big things for Eddie Hearn right now is that he recently found out that they could have actually terminated the contract with Deontay Wilder back in December. And Team Fury decided not to do it and go through with the arbitration situation. And of course, more recently, where they haven't even made any kind of effort, apparently, as in Team Fury have made very little to no effort to even offer Wilder some kind of step-aside money to try and resolve that situation, just so he can get Fury and Joshua over the line. They didn't even try. So Eddie Hearn, of course, is very unhappy about all of that. But Frank Warren, he's bit back, and it took me a hellacious time to try and find that interview. I was getting to the point this morning thinking, I'm sure I've seen it, you know. I'm sure I've seen it. Maybe I dreamt it. Maybe I'm thinking about this kind of stuff so much that I imagined it. But eventually I did find it because I thought it was actually up on BT Sport, but it actually turned out to be on Frank Warren's Instagram account himself. So link to that in the description box. Now, Frank Warren, he's bit back, and he said that it's like pot on kettle, where Eddie Hearn, he's saying how that Team Fury should have dealt with the in-house problems and made more of an effort, but there was actually an in-house problem with Oleksandr Usyk and Eddie Hearn, as far as legalities are concerned, where Frank Warren, he says that Oleksandr Usyk was a matchroom fighter and all that kind of stuff. Now, firstly, Oleksandr Usyk is not a matchroom fighter. His last fight with Derek Chisora was actually his last fight under the matchroom banner. But hey, that is what it is. But anyway, he's saying that Oleksandr Usyk, even if Fury and Joshua had have got this fight over the line and Team Fury won the arbitration, Eddie Hearn was fully aware that Oleksandr Usyk had written to the WBO threatening to sue all parties if Fury Joshua went ahead. So Frank Warren saying that that would have been another obstacle that would have been presented, and Eddie Hearn isn't telling anybody about it. He just found out himself about this particular situation with Oleksandr Usyk. Now, I don't pretend to know everything that's going on behind the scenes or whatever else. All I can do is look from the outside, look at the information that's given to us and try and break it down how I possibly can. Doesn't mean I'm right or anything. It just means that it's my thoughts, my opinion. But my thoughts and my opinion on the situation is, well, Oleksandr Usyk threatening to sue everybody. Firstly, there's nothing wrong with him threatening to do that. Of course not. Because when you really look at it, Oleksandr Usyk, his career has been put on hold. He didn't know what he was doing next. Was he going to fight Joe Joyce or was he going to fight Anthony Joshua? He didn't know if he was coming or going. He didn't know who it was that he was fighting next. Same with Joe Joyce. His career has been put on hold, waiting for this whole situation to be resolved. Okay? Now, the other side is that the WBO had ordered Oleksandr Usyk to fight Joe Joyce for the WBO interim world heavyweight title. So the winner of Usyk and Joe Joyce, you'll get the interim world heavyweight title for the WBO, of course. But once the first Fury-Joshua fight happens, the winner of that fight, and Eddie Hearn confirmed this a couple of days ago too, that the winner of that Fury-Joshua fight first time would have been stripped of the WBO world heavyweight title. So announced the winner as undisputed. A couple of days later, sorry mate, we're taking off that WBO belt and awarded to the winner of Usyk and Joyce. So whoever is the interim champion will then be elevated to full WBO World Heavyweight Champion. That was the order of the WBO. If, of course, the Fury-Joshua fight was to happen. Of course, everything hinged on Fury and Joshua. So with Oleksandr Usyk threatening to sue or whatever, was he really going to go through with it? I don't know. But there's no harm in him trying, because at the end of the day, this was being dragged out for a long, long time. But it's a huge money fight. Of course, everybody wants every little detail in the contract to be absolutely spot on. Make sure that the money's in escrow bank accounts and all that kind of thing. So yes, it's going to take quite some time. Should it take 4 or 5 months? I don't know. I've never been involved in anything like that, but I can't really see how or why it took that long, if I'm being brutally honest with you. So maybe Eddie Hearn didn't work as fast as what he could have done. Maybe he was having resistance from Team Fury the whole way, which hampered him. I don't know. I can speculate till the cows come home. But ultimately, Frank Warren, what he's really doing here is, and by the way, I like Frank Warren. I know that I criticise certain things with Frank Warren. People seem to think I don't like him. I do actually like Frank Warren. I've been a Frank Warren supporter for a long, long time. It's just that on certain situations, much as this one, I see it as him deflecting from what was really the problem. So even if Usyk had have turned out that he was actually going to sue all parties involved and everything, as I said before, it's unlikely that he would have got anything anyway, because a sanctioning body is his own entity anyway. It's not answerable to anybody. As much as Oleksandr Usyk is currently the WBO mandatory, the WBO could turn around to him and say, listen, we've done you a favour here. You haven't fought in any WBO heavyweight final eliminators, but we have just given you the mandatory position because of your achievements at cruiserweight. So we elevated you to this position. Do you really want to bite the hand that's feeding you or giving you the opportunity? They could turn around and do that. They could just strip Oleksandr Usyk of the mandatory position if they want, and they don't even need to give a reason for it. That's how a sanctioning body is, okay? They're not beholden to anybody. So unless Oleksandr Usyk has a huge grounds to be suing, it's unlikely that he would have got anywhere anyway. So I do see this as Frank Warren deflecting. I honestly do. I think he's trying to say how Eddie Hearn can blame us all that he wants, but he's not being totally forthcoming himself, saying, almost insinuating that the Oleksandr Usyk situation would have been a big problem. But when you really look at it, Eddie Hearn has very little to no dealing with Oleksandr Usyk ever since his contract ended with Matchroom. Frank Warren was the one dealing with Team Usyk because he was the one trying to get the Joe Joyce fight over the line. But of course, he couldn't get that fight over the line until Fury Joshua was officially done and dusted. And there's been all kinds of problems during the negotiations with that one, apparently. So I understand what it is that Frank Warren's trying to do. He's just trying to say, don't totally blame us. Eddie Hearn is to blame as well. I'm not too sure if I agree with that one. I mean, I can understand where it is that Frank Warren's coming from, but I do see it like he's clutching at straws just to try and deflect a little bit back onto Eddie Hearn. And that's fine. It is what it is. I mean, Frank Warren doesn't like Eddie Hearn and whatever else, okay? It's competition. Is it healthy competition? I'm not too sure, but competition all the same. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it all. I just think that Frank Warren is pretty much deflecting, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I don't think Oleksandr Usyk was going to be a problem. I couldn't see, I genuinely can't see how he was going to be a problem, as the WBO had already ordered it. For sure, it was taking a long time. Maybe Usyk could have done something because they were having to wait so long because his career was being put on hold. I don't know. Maybe he felt like he needed to fight, he needed to make some money, earn a living, and he was being restricted from doing it. So maybe he had a case from that perspective. I don't know. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.